Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining our meeting today. We're going to tell you a bit about our ITP Professional Master's Program in Security. So I'm Joe McManus. I'm an instructor here in ITP, and my iPad is reverting, so I can put it down here. I've been with the program now for 5 years. I teach all the classes in the track. I'm also a senior researcher at CERT, part of the Software Engineering Institute at Carnegie Mellon University, where I've been a senior researcher now for 12 years. I was in industry as a director of security. I led a research group at another company. I've held various roles, and I worked my way up from starting as a software engineer and a programmer at DBA and all that stuff. And in this program, you will get hands-on training from stuff I have learned in the field. And with that, I'll introduce Therese.
Hi, everyone. My name is Therese Manley, and I'm the Corporate Outreach Manager for the Interdisciplinary Telecom program. My background is really with Sprint Corporation, spent several years there, and now I'm working with the telecommunications program here at the CU Boulder campus. And some of my education is from CU Boulder, which is an amazing school if you are on campus, but also we have the online program that Joe is launching this next fall. Part of what I do is assist with bringing corporate companies into the fold and partnering with ITP. So I assist a little bit with internships and jobs, but I also help support the whole program in general, in particular donations to the lab and those kind of things. So let's move on to the Cyber Professional Master's Program.
Which is why you're all here. So this is Interdisciplinary Telecommunications Program, ITP. And one thing we do in ITP is we don't just teach the technical classes. While we have technical classes, and that's the bulk of what we're doing, you'll also be taking classes in policy, in business, and economics. And why we teach you those is because we want you to graduate and be a leader in the field of information security. We don't want you to just be another engineer. We want you to either lead a team, move up and be a director, manager, start your own company. And you get that by understanding how a business works, especially with security. Right now, you don't want to go into a company and say, shut everything down. That's the only way we can be secure, because then you can't do business. So by taking these classes, you understand how to balance security with essential business functions. In our classes, we also have a very hands-on approach. So as distance students, you'll be using a lot of virtual environments that we provide in our cloud, but you'll also finish the program with 3 weeks hands-on in our labs in Colorado, and you'll get access to switches, firewalls, routers, taps, servers, and we'll finish up the program with real hands-on experience so that when you're in the workforce, it's not the first time you've seen something. You've applied it in class through the virtual labs and then hands-on lab at the end of the program. Next slide. Obviously, we offer distance. That's why you're here. We've been doing distance now as part of CU Boulder Anywhere, University of Colorado, for a while, but this is a distance-only program. So with this track, you'll be getting your master's in Interdisciplinary Telecommunications with a focus on cybersecurity. You'll have classes that are recorded by our professors. You'll have the opportunity to interact in real time with the professors while they're being recorded. We'll also have office hours, we'll have email access, video conferences, as well as our labs being online, access to TAs for help with the labs. So that is why we do it distant. We're prepared for that. We've got a great group here at CU to help us with the recordings and to make sure you...
And then just to add, our traditional Masters of Science Telecommunications track for network security is also available online, as well as our telecommunications telecom policy and strategy track. So those are just other ways to be part of the distance program.
So in this track, you'll learn how to be a leader in cybersecurity. You'll get the skills you need to both be technical and management. You want to make sure that you understand the problems you're approaching, how long they take, able to understand what you need to secure the environment you're in. The threat landscape is constantly changing, and by building on the technical skills you'll get here in the program, you can evolve with that. You'll have hands-on lab in the security lab. In our lab, we have real data going through taps and firewalls. We have wireless. We even have LTE antennas. You'll do forensics. You'll do reverse engineering with malware. You'll build signatures. You'll work with the cloud. You'll also have access when you're on campus to real security data from the University of Colorado. The ITP security track provides functional security for campus. So we have access to the campus SIM, which gives us 83 million alerts a day to look at. So while you're here on campus, you'll get access to that to get some training what it's like to work in a SOC. We also have, we also will give you the skills to understand, what a threat is, how will that affect your business, and how should you make decisions going forward. So you'll also, the last thing you'll learn is policy and regulatory requirements. Something like HIPAA or Sarbanes-Oxley or PCI, they are what makes security happen. And you'll be able to understand those rules and turn those rules into how you apply it at the technical level or at the policy level in the enterprise. So we have two options for the distance-only cybersecurity masters and professional cybersecurity masters. So we've got a 12-month option and we've got a 20-month option. It's the same classes, it's just the rate at which you take them. So if you want to space it out a little more, get a little more free time in the evenings, 20 months is an option. Or if you want to just get it all done at once, there's 12 months. You can work during the day, take classes at night. Our faculty is outstanding. We've got people who are in the industry, people who've been leaders in the field. Class participation is part of this. It's not just you watching a video. You'll be able to interact with classmates and with your instructors. But they're also available 24/7, so you can watch them when it's available for you to work on the subject matter. And then, we stress our hands-on learning at the end of the program. We will come out to Colorado and spend 3 weeks in the lab, 5 days a week, 8 hours a day. But you'll also be working on our virtual environment, so you'll be tackling these things as if the machine were near you. You'll just be logging in through a VPN.
And just to say a few words about the final 3 weeks in the security lab, it's really a great opportunity to take that theory and bring all those skills together in a lab where you can make mistakes and you can learn from hands-on with Professor McManus involved in the lab with you during that last 3 weeks.
Which is great, because the first time you reverse engineer some malware and write a firewall rule for it, and you shut down all connectivity for the enterprise out, have that happen in the lab, not at work. So that's one of the reasons we have this lab. So our online master's degree is 30 credits. Our traditional master's degree is 36. So with 30 credits, we understand that you have experience. That way, you'll be coming in. You won't need some of the classes that our traditional students will. Most classes are 3 credits. We can go through the classes in a minute, but they're mostly 3 credits. But you'll be taking essentially twice as fast. So you'll be taking the classes in sort of double speed. So we've broken them up. So instead of just taking 2 semesters a year, you'll be taking 4 semesters. Then you can also be taking them in the summer. So you'll be taking 5 or 6 semesters. You can apply up until June 15th. We'll let you know by July 1st whether or not you've been accepted. Classes will start on August 28th. And we also have an amazing opportunity right now. Since we've just launched this program, we're offering up to $5,000 to the first 10 accepted students. So it's a great way to sort of bootstrap yourself and get into the program.
And let me just add that on the ITP website, we have the full course curriculum. Joe is going to talk about that a little bit here as well. But there's also the application requirements and the admissions requirements is all posted on the website. It's fairly simple, and you can send all the materials to itp@colorado.edu. We are accepting applications right now. The funding is a nice benefit for you to start the program. And just one added note, with the 12 and 20-month programs, each course leads into the following semester. So they do need to be taken in sequence, and it's very difficult to drop out of that and start back again. So it really needs to be a continuous cycle of coursework, a little different than our traditional masters.
Yeah, so to that end, one of the first classes you'll take is sort of a fundamentals of a network programming course. And that's a course that's going to teach you Python programming. So throughout the rest of the track, you'll be writing code. It might not be very advanced code, but you're writing code to either prove an exploit or to discover flaws or to process data and visualize it. So you need to make sure you sort of take that course. And when you get into by the time you get to secure web programming, you need to have an understanding of how to program. You don't need to be full-time coders, but you just need to sort of understand the structure of programming. And we'll walk you through it from Hello World up to a multi-tiered cloud-based web application. So before we go to the Q&A, let me just talk about the classes we have. So your first semester online, you'll be taking Fundamentals of Network Programming, which is that Python course I told you about. Then there is Data Communications for Security. So this is approaching networking at the security level. Not pure networking, but what do we need to know about networking when we apply it to the security realm? Then we have Applied Network Security. In Applied Network Security, you'll go through learning things about performing vulnerability assessments. You'll learn policy, disaster recovery, business continuity. You'll learn sort of things like the CIA triad and some of the NIST cybersecurity framework. Then the next semester, you take Network Security Lab. And in this class, you'll be doing things like penetration testing, digital forensics. You'll be writing code to visualize attack data and forensics timelining. You'll be doing things like securing the Internet of Things by working with IoT devices and then attacking them and figuring out how you can protect them and write policy for them. Then you'll be taking courses in information risk management, which is core to what we do in security. And in secure web application development, you'll learn about how modern dynamic applications work. So while you may not be planning to go into the role of a programmer, you still need to understand, well, what is this back end that everything is built on? So we'll give you machines in the cloud. You'll develop on a web server and a database server. You'll learn database design, web programming, and you'll learn how to prevent brute force password attacks or raise situational awareness, prevent cross-site scripting, SQL injection, all of those things in that course. Then you'll go into the next semester class in cyber economics. You'll go into cybersecurity policy. And these two courses are where you're going to need to know how to understand what do we need to do in security at the enterprise or at the government level, not just on the program level. Then we'll do cybersecurity management, which is great for you folks who are looking to move out of a purely technical position and into more of a leadership position. Then you'll take research methods, which is going to teach you how to research a topic and write a scholarly article, or scholarly journal, excuse me, write papers for a scholarly journal. Then you'll take large-scale network analysis, and in this course, this is when you'll be doing designing networks, such as deploying VLANs and ACLs. You'll work with devices in the cloud at this point. Actually, this is the AugMaster, I'm sorry. In the AugMaster, we'll be giving you Cisco ASAs, Cisco switches, Ixia taps. We'll put them all in front of computers. We'll develop VoIP, devices behind them, some SDN behind them. This one you'll be doing your reverse engineering. You'll be visualizing data. You'll be doing flow analysis. This is a great course to sum up what you've learned in all your previous semesters. Then you'll have Linux system administration. And we teach Linux in this program because it's really what so much of the cloud is built on. So I mean, everything in EC2 is Linux. What we're seeing in the web is all Linux. And from a security perspective, all the tools are written in Linux, all the open source tools. And then you'll have a capstone, which is you picking a topic that you developed in research methods and applying it through a project you're going to do. So that would be picking a topic in security and developing it from beginning to end. And those are the courses.
Great. Great. Thank you, Joe. So I did put a note out there on the chat for you to ask your questions. And before I take the first question, which there is one on there, I just wanted to point out that the program is really designed for the professional mid-career employee or professional in security. So these courses are designed for online, evening, and to have a very quick fast-track approach to getting a master's degree. So this is really designed for you and for that, that position that you're in today as an employee of a large company or a small company. So let me just go ahead and start with the first question, and I'll ask to Joe, is there a benefit to enrolling into the 12-month program versus the 20-month, and how do they differ?
Well, they're the same program, same classes, just for the 20-month program, we let you take them, you take less classes per semester. So the benefit of the 12-month program is that you're done in 12 months. The benefit of the 20-month program, you'll be maintained probably a little bit better work-life school balance, because of that 12-month program, when you come home from work, after dinner, you'll start your homework, start watching the lectures. It will be time. You'll be in 1 year. You'll be doing what a normal full-time student does in 2 years. So, it's whether or not you want to go sort of full speed or be able to retain a little more work-life balance.
Thank you. The next question is, if accepted, is there an opportunity to take courses this summer to lighten the burden in future quarters?
I don't know the answer. I'll have to look into that. The courses are a little bit different. The traditional courses that we teach are more of our longer duration courses. So you'll be getting a brief. I can't, to be honest, if you take a 7-week course from me, I can't cover the same material I can cover in 14 weeks. You won't have enough time to do anything but coursework. So I'll find out that that's the same course number. I couldn't see why not. And you have to be accepted, but I have to check because it's all above my professory pay grade, if you will.
Yeah, the only complication with that I can see is whether or not that course is offered in the summer. So we would have to double check that as well. And then the timing of being accepted into the program, as well as starting and finishing before the August 28th. But we will get back to you and provide that information out to the full group.
Although, assuming if we notify folks on July 1st, all of our courses will be done for the summer. So it might not work for this summer, but it might work for next summer.
Yeah, and I would also offer that you can send an email to itp@colorado.edu if we miss your question, but also if you have think of something later. But I'll go on to the next question. Is the degree received an MS in telecommunications with a cybersecurity focus? Yes.
It will say MS and Interdisciplinary Telecommunications Policy. And it will say cybersecurity.
Yes, it'll be a Master's of Science in Telecommunications Engineering, and then your transcript will show cybersecurity track. Next question is, will funding be available for each admitting term?
Maybe. Definitely the first term. And I think we'll review it after that, depending upon it depends how many folks we get. And that's how we as ITP fund you by you coming to the program. So.
Yeah, this is the first year that we are starting this program. It's not the first year that we're providing the coursework. The coursework, Professor McManus already provides today on campus. So it's not that piece is new, it's just the structure of it. So once we get our feet under us for the first year, I think we'll be able to answer that question a little bit more cleanly. Next question. Can recent graduates enroll in the program?
Absolutely.
Yes, there are no restrictions there. There will be, would be difficult to do any waivers or any credit for those courses. Any coursework that you have done previously toward a degree would not apply.
And with that, we assume that we're assuming that folks in the program have worked in industry. So we might, where if you're in the 2-year program, we might hammer in some more basics. We're going to assume you've got some experience in the field, so we'll move a little faster because we know you're working right now. So if you have no experience, you might have to just Google a little more.
Okay, next question. With the 20-month option, are you required to do a summer on campus twice?
No, one time. You only do the 3 weeks on campus one time. And who doesn't want to be in Boulder in the summer?
And I would say that for the 12-month program, the Augmester is the 3-week online on campus. For the 20-month, the 20 months ends in May, so it's a Maymester. So it's sort of summertime.
But only one time.
But only one time, that's correct. Next question is, how do the admission requirements differ from the other ITP tracks? And is work experience considered? So the admission requirements are a little bit different because we are making the assumption that you are working and you do have experience. This is designed for the mid-career professional. We will evaluate your application, your CV or resume, and your transcripts. We do not require a GRE, which is our part of the admission requirements for the traditional track. Let's see, letters of recommendation are also required for the traditional track, and they are not required for the cybersecurity track.
And I'll say, as a professor, if I'm looking at your application and I see that you've been working for the last 10 years in technology and your undergrad GPA wasn't great, I much heavier weight your work experience. So that's what the question is. That's my take.
Okay, next question. Actually, that was the last question. We'll wait to see if anybody has any additional questions on chat. Oh, all right, here we have another one. How does the on-campus portion work? Does the student arrange for their own accommodations, or is it provided by the program?
You will arrange your own accommodations, but we are looking into getting on-campus housing, which is ridiculously inexpensive for those 3 weeks. So you'd stay on campus, and not in the cinder block undergrad dorms and the nicer family dorms. Or you could stay, or if you're local and want to stay at home. So I think we're looking into that. We will hope to have we've done that for other events we've held on campus, gotten on-campus housing for you. So while it's not provided for you, it is incredibly affordable.
Correct. Yes, and we will be looking and being able to post that and give you that information. Unfortunately, we don't have that at this point in time, but we will assist regardless. Mm-hmm. Does the student arrange? Will any of the courses require proctoring for the exams?
From me, no. Any class you take from me, no. You're professionals. If I don't need to have someone sit over your shoulder and figure out whether or not you're Googling, this doesn't make sense. And then additionally, as you know, in the field, the solid tech foundations you have are what let you go ahead and Google the right answer, right? I don't remember every single database query I've ever written. If I hop from Python to PHP to Java to C, I don't remember all the function names. I Google them. But how we get around that by not making you proctor, they're timed. Your exams will be timed. So instead of giving you 3 hours and assuming that you're going to memorize everything, we'll give you an hour and hope that you studied ahead of time. And it'll be the online course tools will time it from start to end. So that's how we'll do those. And I think we'll also have a lot of practicals. So it'll be, in my classes, it will be more how do we'll have you, what you've learned throughout the semester, then apply it in an end of semester project. I think that's more practical. There might be some quizzes you take, but more, I heavier weight the projects you do.
Very good, thank you. And so I don't see any more questions in chat. I'll wait to see if some come through. Oh, here comes another one. What are some knowledgeable skills you expect students have before they begin coursework, or which would be helpful to students?
So I really just want a solid computer science foundation. And that's not to say you need to be able to rattle off algorithms and how many digits are in pi off the top of your head. I don't know if there's a point to that. But I want you to just understand, okay, this, if you've been in the field, how do you troubleshoot something, right? How does basic networking work? If you set up, your home network and understand why you chose, a 10 dot address or a 192 address because that's part of RC 1918. stuff like that. Just basic computer science fundamentals. But then we're going to teach you, when we do the penetration testing. Well, this is what a buffer overflow is. Here's some sample code, and now let's do it. We're not going to expect that you'll be able to write one, because that's not what this program is. This is a network security program, not a computer science master's program in strict programming and algorithms. So.
Very good. Okay. We are out of questions at this point in time, so I'll add just some additional feedback or information regarding international students, if we have any out there. We do accept international students. For that Maymester or Augmester, we will work with you on an I-20 so that you have access to come to the country for the 3-week hands-on security lab. So that's not a problem. We do expect that you have strong written and oral English skills. It is a requirement because of the coursework and being able to write during that 3-week period. You are doing somewhat of a capstone and research project, so you have to be able to write a publishable paper for that.
Another question popped up.
Okay, great. Does the Python course assume no programming experience?
It assumes that you've never programmed. We go from hello world to simple if statements, and then instead of, I don't know if you've ever taken a programming course before, but if you have, when I was taking these courses, I always kind of laughed at the silly examples you had to do. So that would be like, you have 2 dice. What's the likelihood of getting a 6? Now you've got 3 dice. Now you've got 4 dice. It doesn't make sense. What you're going to do in this program is we're going to go through, you've never programmed before. Let's do a hello world. Then the next week, let's do some if statements, some control statements. Then what do you do in security? Well, you're going to get log files and have to parse them to find out how a hack happened. So we're going to teach you how to do stuff like that, not sort of unapplicable, goofy things. So that's what we go through in the course. We will teach you how to connect the switches and firewalls and pull down configurations and visualize data. That's what we do in that program.
Excellent. Thank you. And that is a very common question. So, but a large part of what I do is I work with industry, and they all want some type of programming skills in their engineers. So this is an excellent program for that. It doesn't require you to have those skills, but it will build upon that. Okay, we'll wait for a few more questions.
And I'll actually say, a question I get from some of my undergrad students is, why network security? And I think network security and security in general, cybersecurity, is a really interesting topic because you can choose to focus on the area that you're strongest in. So maybe you really love programming. Maybe you really love network engineering. You really love policy. You can become a security person that focuses in that. Maybe you love embedded programming. You can be an expert in secure IoT. Or maybe you love every aspect of computer science. So one day you could be you could be helping a company respond to a hack, trying to do some investigation, which makes you look at network engineering. How's the firewall configured? How were the routers configured? The switches, what were the ACLs? Then going into system administration. Okay, was the box configured? Was it missing patches? Was it a default username and password? Then you can apply your coding skills and look, okay, was this app written correctly? Was it a poorly, were there vulnerabilities in it? So then when you finish that investigation, you write your report. Now you can apply your policy skills and say, hey, this is how you're going to prevent this from happening in the future by applying what you've learned. So that's why I love cybersecurity, because I'm never stuck just in the weeds of just coding or just network engineering. I get to do a bit of everything. And there's a great piece of paper here that Therese is going to show.
Okay, we have another question, and I just wanted to also bring up, if you do want to go off mute and ask a more elaborate question or back and forth feedback, just you can do that. So the next question is, I'm in the market for a new laptop. Which hardware, software might be preferred or helpful for this class?
I love everything Macintosh. I got a MacBook Pro with 16 gigs of RAM. But honestly, if you're going to get a laptop for this program, I would recommend as much memory as you can get. Because you'll probably want to mess around with VMs like Kali Linux and Fedora. And you might want to test things that you don't want to have. Our goal is to not make it so you always have to dial in to the network. Not dial in, geez, I'm dating myself here. Not always have to VPN in to work on things. We like to make it so you can also download a VM, run it at home, test things out. So I would recommend as much, at least a minimum of 8 gigs of RAM. And if you can get 16, it'd be perfect.
Excellent. Another question. Does the program address security data analytics with tools such as Splunk?
Yeah, we use Splunk. We're sort of software agnostic, so you'll use Splunk. You'll use some other open source tools. We do quite a bit with flow analysis using the open source tool suite Silk. So yes.
Okay, I just was checking to see if I missed any, and it doesn't seem I have. If I have, if your question hasn't been answered, if you wouldn't mind sending it in again, because I think we have all the questions answered so far.
Oh, and one thing I want to bring up is, while I'm a security person, when you go through this program, you don't necessarily have to fit into the security group. You could be the programmer who knows about security. You could be the manager who understands about security, the network engineer or the sysadmin who's got specialty in security. So if you want to return to a different role rather than pure security, having this background is really paramount now. Every company needs people with knowledge in security. I mean, this is the hacks we're seeing every day. Just now before in the industry 5 years ago, you had to sell everybody on why security mattered. But now with high-profile hacks like Target and Home Depot, and with the Mirai botnet and Sony, and I think we just had the hack the other day with the movie industry, everybody's starting to understand that security matters. So there's so many jobs in it right now. Can I steal your thunder?
Yes, please do.
Okay.
Please do.
So right now, the average salary in cybersecurity is $153K. There are 1.8 million open jobs predicted by 2022. Here in the Denver area, if that's where you're located, we have 5% higher salaries than the national average. Our students now who are graduating from our 2-year program, they've got jobs at Amazon, LinkedIn, NetApp. They've got some really great companies they're going to work in security.
Very good point. Yes, and we do have another question. Are there any minimum mathematics requirements?
Can you calculate? No. That'll be some. I mean, nothing. This isn't a calculus program. There's not a prerequisite math class you need to take. As long as you can do average math, you'll be fine. We might apply some libraries like SciPy and NumPy and Python, but we're just feeding data to it and it's doing the hard math for us. So don't worry about that. Excellent.
Okay, we have a little time here waiting for another question.
Because we all have phones with built-in calculators now. So, although we do have a 5-year program with the applied math folks, and so we do in the regular 2-year track when we get into large-scale network analysis and do flow analysis, where we do apply a little more math there, but in the online version it won't be that.
Yeah, and I'll just add while we're waiting for other questions, Joe has mentioned our 5-year program that we have with our undergraduate students. So they have the ability to get a bachelor's and a master's within 5 years. But as we talked about earlier, we also have the 2-year traditional master's that can be acquired online or through online distance or on campus. So those are other options if you don't want to go the fast track of a 12 or 20 month. But we do believe that these security jobs are out there today, and it's really important from what we have heard from all of you how critical it is to get this education, and employers need the skill set. They need security professionals, that they don't have to hire an engineer and train them on all of these aspects. They can get the knowledge within a year here at the university.
And I was going to let you guys know, we teach what's happening in the market. The neat thing with security is that it's not stagnant, right? It's constantly changing. So some of the other work I do, I help out federal law enforcement and the DoD and groups like that with incident response and with automating forensics and things like that. So I can bring to our class, what's happening, what are the big hacks that are happening in the field right now, not just an example that I read online 5 years ago. So it's very practical, very applicable, and we teach you what you need to know to be in the market right now.
Okay, we do have another question. About how many hours of work per week would each course require?
A lot. Our rule of thumb at campus is that for a graduate course, you get 3 hours of work for every credit hour of class. So if it's a 3-credit class, you'll have 9 hours of homework a week. You know, is it always going to be 9 hours? No. Sometimes it'll be higher, sometimes it'll be lower when you do a big project. If you have a lot of readings, you'll be great at multitasking. You'll get on the elliptical or the spin bike with some of your readings and take notes while you're doing that, and then do your homework when you get home. You'll learn to be incredibly efficient during this 12 or 20-month program.
Another question, are there any tuition discounts for veterans? I do know that we have veteran scholarships, and so as far as that can be used and applied toward tuition, so that is one way that we can assist from an ITP, from our program perspective. Certainly if there's other things out there that you can acquire through the veterans or military, but we do have programs available. So just contact us at itp@colorado.edu with your specific question with regard to that, but we do offer that.
And not all security jobs are classified, but there are a number of classified security jobs. So being a veteran and having this master's in cybersecurity will be a great combination.
So Joe, while we're waiting for other questions, maybe you could just re-emphasize the interdisciplinary approach that our program offers.
So if you're in industry now, you've probably run into some engineers who will not want to release code until the 100%, every possible corner case is handled. Instead of being the 90% solution and getting it out there and doing constant updates, you stagnate. Well, through this program, being interdisciplinary, and we have to go through the policy and business classes, we hope to have you understand that that's not the right answer for industry. Obviously, through the risk assessment class, you'll learn how to balance your security needs with other things, but what's really great about our program, and I'm sure you've seen this, is you can be an incredibly great technologist, but if you don't understand how the business works, you tend to sit in the same role for a very long time. Through ITP, teaching you all these other realms outside of just the technical classes, you can become a leader in this field. Our students are going out right now, and they're moving up quickly in the industries they're in. We've got folks who are now CEOs, who are directors, who are doing fantastic as a result of our traditional 2-year program. And soon enough, you folks will be able to tell us how we're doing with our cyber professional program.
Yeah, and I'll just add that we also have a lot of entrepreneurs who start their own businesses. So it's really incredible to see, once they get a viewpoint of the business and the economics and the finance side and the telecom policy, how easily they can run a company or work in Washington, D.C. at the FCC or some other government facility. I haven't seen any other questions in about 5 minutes. Does anybody have any questions on the phone?
Well, if you have questions later, you can always email itp@colorado.edu if it's about general program questions. If you have specific questions about the classes, you can always feel free to email me, joe.mcmanus, MCMANUS, @colorado.edu. I can get back to you with questions about any of the classes. No new questions, okay?
Hello?
Yes, hello.
I had a quick question. I understand that the program is just beginning, so it wouldn't be possible to get in touch with people that are already in it or have graduated, obviously. But since the program shares a lot of the same courses with some of your established degree programs, is there anything in place for potential students to, tap somebody's experience, an individual that's already taking the applied security course, for instance, and give them?
I can ask. I can ask the students. I'm not sure we can compel them, but I can certainly ask. Interesting. You bring up this applied security class. I had a student just take the applied security class this semester who was not in our master's program. He was actually an undergraduate, took it as a senior class, and he told me yesterday he got a job as a cybersecurity researcher, solely based on what he learned in the class. So I thought that was pretty great feedback. Now, I could be making that up, but I swear I'm not. So we'll look into that for you. And what was your name? Person on the phone?
Irvin, E-R-V-I-N.
Okay. We'll find out for you. I'll see if I can get some students.
Yeah, and it's always good to follow up on the address. I'll repeat it again, itp@colorado.edu, because we'll research that question. I have done that before for our program, and I do agree with you. I think that you will get the feedback that you need from our traditional master's students, because Joe is still the same instructor. We have some other instructors as well, but you'll get a feel for the program, indeed.
Also, as a follow-up to the answer that you guys provided about whether or not on-campus session was required twice for 20 months, you said no. You guys are going to have to correct your page. The way it's listed here, they have two on-campus periods for the 20-month period. They have one at the end of each.
Oh, geez, thanks for letting us know that.
Also, I wanted to ask if it was possible to get a hold of the syllabi. All of the courses that are listed have a syllabi PDF, except for 5830. Actually, you have the special topics ones: economics, cybersecurity, policy.
Not yet, because those courses haven't been developed yet.
Oh my goodness, they're going to be developed in time for this fall?
Yes. Well, they're not, I believe, are they fall courses? No, I believe they're not fall courses. So they are,
right.
Yes, they're not fall courses. So they'll be developed before then, but yes.
Okay. Well, the Datacom one is listed under fall, I believe.
Right. No, first semester you'll take Applied Network Security, Fundamentals of Network Programming, and second year online. Nope. That's second year, I believe, you're looking at for Datacom. Yeah, that'll be 2018 by the time that one's taught.
Okay. Yeah, it's listed under fall semester here on your page.
Yeah, it's fall semester. I believe it says second year fall semester.
2017.
Are you referring to the 12-month program?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Yeah, we'll have it ready before then. Unfortunately, we haven't created the class yet.
Understood.
It's going to be built on our traditional Datacom class.
Right.
You can go look at that syllabi. It'll be very close, but obviously abbreviated and with a few more security things thrown in.
Yeah, a lot of our... Go ahead.
Wait, I'm sorry.
A lot of our coursework matches what we do on a traditional security basis. These courses, what we're trying to do is take what's going on in industry today and current and relevant. So they are based on, almost all these courses are based on the traditional coursework. So Joe is tweaking those, and that's when he says they're going to be developed. They're really, I don't know, probably 75% developed. So we don't want to worry you at all. Yeah. But you could go to our courses page and pull up the traditional course, and you could get a feel for what it is. And then we're adding that cybersecurity flair to it, if that helps.
Understood. Understood. I have a quick question. Under the listing for the courses that go down on campus, you got, it's 9 credits. These courses are actually going to be covered in their entirety during that 3 weeks, all 9 credit hours?
Yes, you'll be there from 8 to 5, Monday to Friday.
I see. I've seen other programs where there's an on-campus component, and maybe you might do a portion of it before you get there, like, and then you do like the rest of it there. But this one, if I understand you correctly, all of it is done on campus. Yeah,
and so if you want to think about it in that way, it's the completion of everything you've done so far in the program. So everything is leading up to that. So at that point, you'll be doing everything hands-on, which you've only been doing virtual before. So if you want to think about it, it would be you've learned skills the first year, you've learned skills the first 10 months, something like that. Now you're applying those skills. So while you'll be learning some new material, it'll be the first time you've applied it, let's say, from end to end.
I see. Excellent, excellent.
So we might tell you, one thing that comes up is, we might talk about firewalls, we might talk about configuring IP tables, or a Juniper switch in the cloud. Well, that's neat. But when you first get one and you've got to hook up that serial cable and configure it from the ground up, there's a different experience. So while, like I said, you'll have learned how to do these things, now you'll be, instead of me giving you a homework assignment that says, write a rule to capture command and control traffic for a botnet, we'll be giving you malware that acts like a botnet. You'll have to deploy it on a network that you design. You'll have to plug a tap in and capture the traffic, analyze the traffic, configure the firewall from the ground up. So it's sort of the time when you're just totally immersed in it, applying everything you've learned.
I see.
And Joe, is it fair to say that during that 3 weeks, they also have 24/7 access to the security lab to do their projects outside of those hours?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool.
But I'll only be there from 8 to 5.
Do you have a cap on the number of people that can be admitted in the program?
Yeah, we do. I think we're limiting it the first year to 12 or so. I don't know exactly the numbers, but there's some cap.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure.
If we have that problem, it's a good problem to have.
Yeah, I think the limitation is really in that augmester or maymester and how many students Joe can assume at any given time. So, and the hardware. So, I don't know, 12 to 15. We don't really have. I'll get back to you about that.
Okay. We better hurry up and apply then.
Well, plus the first 10 students have the opportunity for up to $5,000 in fellowship money.
Excellent, excellent.
Great questions. Thank you. I don't see any more. Oh, here we have another one on chat. If we are in the Boulder area, can we access the security lab prior to the on-campus semester?
Maybe, if there's a class need for it, or if you're just curious and want to come in. If you're in the Boulder area, one of the things that our program is really proud about is that we do hackathons every semester, and sometimes twice a semester. Our last 3 were from Facebook, and then Applied Trust, which is a local DevOps and security company. And then we just had one sponsored by Cisco. So if you're local and want to participate in those, I'd love to have you there. You get to interact with students. It's a great way to see, these companies bring out, 15 or 20 engineers to work with you during the hackathons. This will be another way to get hands-on. So, if there's a reason you need to be in the lab, you just want to check out something, if you're in the Boulder area, I'm sure we can make it happen.
Yeah, good question. Again, this program is designed for those working professionals. So, and we do have courses that take place during the evening hours on campus throughout the semester. So for that person who just asked the question, there may be an opportunity for you to observe or whatnot. So it's just a matter of working with us on that. We're pretty flexible. Yeah,
if you're in the Boulder area, not to not talk about the professional masters, but if you're in the Boulder area, you could do our traditional program and do a sort of a hybrid of online and in-class classes. So we have a lot of folks in the area who are doing that right now. They're attending 1 or 2 classes and taking 1 online, which is a lot of work, and it will probably take them 3 years to graduate, not 1.
Right. Any other questions on the phone?
Yeah, and if folks in the Boulder area have questions and want to come in and take a tour of the SOC, you can always send me an email or send ITP at colorado.edu. What was that? ITP at where? Colorado.edu. Can ask us a question, and we can arrange for you to see some of our facilities, talk with our students, see what's going on.
Yeah, I think we're getting close to the hour. I haven't seen any more questions. I certainly would want to answer all your questions, and I have been answering some people's questions who do send their emails in. So I guess at this point in time, Joe.
Call it a day.
Yeah, yeah. We really appreciate it. We are very excited about this program. There's a very strong need for cybersecurity professionals, as we mentioned, and we're really trying to help the employment rates across the country, but also in Colorado, with over 12,000 jobs just open in Colorado alone. But as Joe mentioned earlier, 1.8 million is estimated nationwide through 2022. So it's going to be a hot field, and I think you're smart to be getting into this area.
And, you know, I mentioned this to some of our other students, but technologies come and go. You know, right now, Python is very popular. You know, Go is popular. But this master's degree, it's always a master's degree. So whether or not, you know, when you submit a resume and have that on it, it's always showing that you have the ability to learn something, to follow something through to completion. It really sets you apart from other candidates. So, you know, even though, you know, the technology you learn today might not be relevant in 15 years, you know, you've shown that you can learn that and you have what it takes. So that's one of I think the best ways to get or best reasons to get a master's degree.
Very good. Well, thank you. We appreciate it. We appreciate your time, and we hope to see you.